Guys, today's a different kind of podcast. Hello, Crown. Hello, Nick.
Hello.
Hello, MD.
And
Hiya,
we
Crown.
How's it going? Good. How are you?
All right, good. I'm good, thanks, matey.
and we're missing Modbus who couldn't make it.
We are.
But he'll
Boo.
be in part 2, right? Hopefully.
Or if he joins.
And today we just want to pick up on a bunch of things that we never talk about, such as boom.
Such as
Boom.
boom.
Our
Boom.
first subject is boom.
Boom.
So what do we have with boom? Is this constant
Boom.
boom
Boom.
on Twitter,
Boom.
X, right?
Boom. Follow me. Boom.
And when moon?
We're mooning.
We're always moving,
Trust
right?
me.
Let me
We're
bring
always
up
mooning,
here
Crown.
our price. So lots of people are going crazy right now because
We're
just
mooning.
things just seem to go sideways forever, right? And if things go up for a cent, we're mooning.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Where they have like
I
one
told
minute
you we'd moon.
intervals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told you we'd moon.
Yeah, they changed their charts to like 1 minute intervals, so it looks like really, really good and really, really high and a nice cloud,
The zoom in.
candle
The
wick.
zoom
Yeah.
in one.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
want
it's
to have
like,
it like this.
yeah, it's like zoom out. I mean, you'll understand it's no big deal.
It's like people who look at the chart that, fits their view of things.
The
Always.
agenda. Fits the agenda.
So
But they
Crown,
never show the whole chart.
got a question
Yes.
for you, Crown.
Sure, yeah.
What do you think XRP price will be until end of the year, 2024?
I wouldn't be shocked to see it at 75 or 80 cents top. That's probably where I would put it. I'm not going to put any, stock into it going crazy or anything. Depends on if Tether collapses, then obviously it's going to be a lot less than what it is now. But yeah, I would say it's a good bet to be anywhere within $1. I don't think it will go much less than this unless, the collapse does happen. But yeah, definitely
Nick,
not
what do you
$1 or
think?
more.
What do you
I
think, Nick?
think it'll stay around the same. I just really do. It might go up a bit and down a bit like it always does. Just
So you guys are thinking we'll be around 70 cents by end of this year?
yeah, maximum. I think we just drift along.
Basically, the little blip we saw when the SEC basically lost,
Yeah.
in quotes, we had a blip to almost 80 cents, right?
Yeah, I think it almost touched like $1, I think, but it didn't get anything beyond, which tells you everything you need to know that if it didn't get much higher at that point, then when will it? It's
Yeah.
one of those situations.
Well, we all know that it's manipulated, right?
Correct. Yeah, at least that's the idea.
We have AI running and the farms of bots manipulating the price by trading quickly. That's at least what I think. The price is held at where they want it.
Well, of course, it's an agenda, isn't it? Keep it where it is.
And how do you think the Bitcoin ETF being approved in the way it has been, and then the influx of all the money into the ETFs will affect the XRP price, if at all?
I mean, it's not really affected it anyway already, so I would say it's kind of similar to no change. The Bitcoin halving, we'll have to see what goes on with that because that's the next thing, right? That I'm curious to see what happens during that. But right now, like the ETFs are going on, and there's been no real change, so I don't see any reason to expect any different.
So
It
here's
ain't happened now. It's not going to happen, is it?
so Bitcoin ETFs are here to pick up all the Bitcoin, basically, right?
Right.
Retail is not supposed to hold Bitcoin. I think that's where they're going with the whole thing. You will only hold derivative Bitcoin through an ETF or similar. And I'm asking myself, will this be the same case with XRP as well?
Maybe, but they don't need your XRP. Well, they do, but they don't. They'll just give you staking options with, everybody thinks there's going to be a buyback. But it makes no sense to do a buyback. They'll just give you staking options in your favorite credit union or your favorite bank, and they'll just get your XRP that way and still give you your 5% or lower. They don't need to buy you back. So
They're not
Oh,
going to buy you back,
no,
are they?
there's no reason
There's
to.
no reason to.
No, it's basically they'll treat it just like a CD currently does at any bank.
I see buyback never made any sense to me. I never
Makes no
got the
sense.
idea, the concept of it.
No.
Why would they want
Why
to?
would they?
If they can get it for free by
Yeah,
shaking people out with all the hype and fear and
Which
FUD and
they
whatnot,
do.
which they do, and also we're going to see a massive drop soon, as I believe, down to the 20 cents or
And then
less.
everyone will shit themselves and we're doomed, and they're all whatever. So that's what they do. They want you out of it.
Oh, they said they want us out.
Yeah, of course they
oh
do.
yeah.
I mean, when I first got into XRP, the first thing I read was it's not for retail. So there you go. They want you out of it. And if they can find a way of you parting with your XRP, then they'll do it. And it's as simple as that.
They don't want 5 million people being billionaires.
No, of course they don't.
No, of course not. Yeah.
You, little old me can't rub shoulders with million and billionaires, can I? Unless I win the
No.
lottery. There's no way.
Also imagine
Recently have some power.
imagine Volkswagen could never build enough Lamborghinis for everybody. It would be ridiculous.
Scarbo suddenly in the Illuminati because he held on to his XRP. I mean, come on. Whoever has so much shit.
You have to hold the Illuminati NFT though to get in. So you don't have that yet. So
no,
Yeah.
I'm working on it, Crown. I'm working on it.
okay.
What would that be? Like a pyramid with a big eye on it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my next collection.
Keep an eye out for that collection. You want to
Yeah.
pick one up for sure.
Someone's gonna do one now, isn't they? The Illuminati.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be Klaus Schwab's ass or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Is there staking involved? Oh,
Yeah.
there might be, but there's a secret handshake. Trust me.
So considering all this talk on crypto X and people saying that XRP will be $10,000.
Oh yeah,
Impossible. Yeah.
So
no way.
what would be a realistic price, Nick and Crown, for you in your
Oh,
view
man.
each? And why is it
To-
realistic?
I'll go first. To be honest, but I'm not really that first. To be honest, it doesn't really bother me. When I invested into crypto, it was money I'd got disposable. That as soon as I put it in, it had gone. So I don't get wound up by the price of it all. It's irrelevant to me. I just enjoyed meeting you guys, and it was the best thing that happened. So to me, the price is irrelevant. It really is irrelevant.
It's irrelevant for you, but let's say, what could you imagine XRP be in years time span?
In years' time, when I'm old, well, I don't know. I mean, I'd love it to be £100 or what. I think £4 or £5 would be the maximum it'll go for me, to be honest, in my lifetime. I really do. It ain't going to make me a multimillionaire, trust me. I don't old enough for it to.
Crown?
Yeah, I would say, I've done some of those, conversions, like, if XRP had Ethereum's or Bitcoin's market cap, what would it be? And I kind of think like the maximum number realistically would be like $50 would be realistic. Top. It's impossible for it to be at 10,000. It just is. So
it's not going to happen. How about
No.
you then, MD? Come on then.
Well, if you look at market cap, the way that it, people think it works, but it doesn't, because market cap isn't really the total amount of liquidity that's in there. That's just like a fictional number, right? If you divide the whole, the price by the number of tokens that is out there, it's way higher than what actually is in it, right? It's kind of set up by the whole hype, right, as well. You have to look at what's happening with the ledger, right? What's going through it really in real world value and real world cash, and we're like really early on all of this. I'd be happy if we see an all-time high again someday, like we saw, back at $3. What was it? $3. Let me go back here to this chart. We saw 360, I believe, $3 something for like a
When was that?
couple days in 2018 here. If you look at the
I
chart.
weren't even around then.
Yeah. And
I
you
wasn't
know,
even a twinkle in my daddy's eye then, 2018.
but I could imagine something like that coming back, because if you look at the chart here, how that went up basically in a week or two, something
Why
like
was
that.
that? Do you know why that was? I wasn't around then. Why was that?
Why was that? I'm not exactly sure. Crown, do you know
I
about
don't
it?
know, but you're approaching very dangerous territory, because this is one of my biggest kind of like things I think about all the time, is when influencers tell you that Bitcoin is going to be $1 million, $10,000, $1 billion, whatever these moon, things are. But they're also the same type of people that subscribe to the idea that it's controlled and manipulated. Well, if it's controlled and manipulated, and that's and that's where you kind of believe, then you also can't believe that you can use chart analysis to dictate where it's going to go. You can't have it both ways.
I agree with you. There's like a bot army going on here to town trading,
Right.
keeping the price where it's at.
Right. If it's being held down, suppressed, it doesn't matter, because your chart analysis is always going to be wrong, and that's why they always are wrong if that's the case. You can't have it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm already doubtful about technical analysis,
yeah.
let's say, because it would require like literally a free market going here happening, right? But if we have bots acting, you can throw away your your technical analysis completely.
Right, and then Tether prints money out of thin air at any given point that you don't know when they're going to do that, which affects the price. So it's already it's already been proven, by that regard, that you can't do it, because if Tether comes out and prints another billion or whatever USDT, Bitcoin will go up because it's used to prop up Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin goes up, all alts follow, and so then you affected the market basically.
So Tether is printing their tokens out of thin air, literally.
Yeah.
And they do have a bunch of lawsuits going on, right? And nobody's putting a stop to it. Why is that?
That's a good question. You have to understand that the people who benefit that are in charge are probably benefited in some way. That's the only thing that would make sense to me, is there's a reason for it. There's an ulterior motive down the road, but I guess I don't know the answer to that.
We'll let you know when we're in the Illuminati, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll
Yeah.
come back. Me and Crown will come back on when we're in the Illuminati with our NFT Illuminati.
But Tether is kind of the entry port, right? It's where people hold their liquidity when they want to get in out of Bitcoin, right? Because you talk to
It's the
people,
lifeblood.
you talk about crypto, most people will say crypto, oh, Bitcoin, right? It's the equivalent. So Tether collapsing would wipe out billions of dollars, I believe.
It would destroy. It would be like somebody dropped an atomic bomb on crypto, and it would be
In all of crypto, and it would basically bring everything down to close to zero. And all those other, how many do we have now? 2.2 million cryptos. If you look at the top left, they would be literally gone. There wouldn't be any exit liquidity. Nobody could run to the door and grab anything. It would be gone overnight.
Yeah.
So basically, if they go after Tether, they could purposely bring it all down.
Yes, they could.
That in combination with the bots that they're running to control the crypto prices would,
But who
would
would
wipe
that
out.
benefit? Who would that benefit though?
Well, then you can buy cheap, right? And all the black box of the world, they could just pick up all the other actual cryptos that would have any kind of utility down the road, right? Bitcoin for investing, because apparently they're buying it all up. They don't want any retail to hold Bitcoin. And then maybe a handful of the others, Solana, XRP, XLM, XDC, the so-called ISO 222 ones, right? And it would be all crashed so hard that everybody would just leave. Only a few would keep holding on to their 2-cent XRP and $300 Bitcoin and so forth, right? Most people would just be wiped out and gone. I mean, there's a lot of people in crypto in general that are way over the head, right? That put in life savings and their children's funds.
Of course they are. Yeah,
they're gambling.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, they're gambling. In the best way to say it is that they're gambling.
They're gambling. Yeah,
that's all. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, and it's a huge gamble.
Yeah.
Huge.
If
I
you're caught, if
remember,
you're caught unaware, yeah.
yeah, I remember reading a couple of years ago on a Discord, someone saying, get your credit card and max it out. And it's like, are you seriously saying this? Why
So
would you do that?
get a credit card and max it out, and then they would speculate that we have Gisara and Nisara at the door. Basically,
Right.
Yeah,
all debts
yeah,
would be forgiven, and there's so
yeah.
much wealth in the US and in the world that would be paid back. Have you guys heard about this?
Yeah,
I have, yes. I don't know how that
yeah.
would even work, but you know, that's another big one that's been
I've
tossed
got
around.
no debts now, so that don't benefit me. Damn.
So you guys asked me what I would think. Well, I said I would like to see an all-time high comeback plus a little bit more. If we would see XRP at $10, I think that would be fantastic. But I think that's not going to happen before the big crash. And I
Yeah.
think the big crash will also have to do with the actual world economy, right? The US dollar. And I think we might be a year, 2, 3, 5, 10 away from all of that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, if XRP goes up to what you're saying, then that's going to affect people selling it, and then that hits the NFTs and that hits everything else. So, how would it all benefit everyone?
Well, it
Because
would
they hold it
benefit the big
even longer.
companies. Yeah, the
Well, yeah, but
financials. Yeah.
but the retailers, and we are retailers, then that doesn't benefit the projects we have on this Discord who join us. It wouldn't, because no one would spend it. So it's one of those, it's catch-22. Everyone wants it to go to the moon, but no one spends any of it. And then they bitch and moan that, oh, well, this NFT is only worth, I bought it. So where do you go? What's the point where people start using it instead of holding this?
I think one big problem with crypto is also entry barrier, right? I mean, for the average person, if they can't use crypto in a totally transparent way where they barely realize that's what they're using, it's not going to go to be a mass adoption,
No,
right?
Right.
The same way that you hold up your phone to make a payment or your credit card, right? We need something like this. So the
yeah,
wallets that people have nowadays,
it
or
needs a use case
it needs a
in
use
general,
case, but also it
in
needs
normal life.
an inclusive, easy to use way of using it. Like the apps we have nowadays aren't usable for most people. They barely understand what is a blockchain or how that all works, right? Or keeping a seed phrase safe or things like that. So I'm talking self-custody, right?
Yeah.
Well, you
You would
keep
have
it
to have
safe. I
some
share
kind of
mine with Crown.
crypto would have to be embedded into the back workings of the whole financial system. And what it would have to do is do instant transactions, kind of like the credit cards do, right?
But
But no fees. Yeah.
Right.
that's all well and good, but you've got to educate the people that are out there who don't know about this. That, you know, if you're going to use it like an app or what, unless it gets mass adoption by the general public, then it's just between us few thousand or whatever that hold crypto.
Essentially, you have to be able to trick people into using it without even knowing
Yeah,
that they're using it.
yeah,
So use it
Exactly.
underneath, use it in the background, use it, use it. It's being used
Yes.
to actually make the transfers, but the person's just pressing a button on on
yeah.
a phone app. But your entry level is correct because you try to, everybody's like they're going to flip the switch, they're going to flip the switch, and everybody has to be forced using digital assets. Well, how does that work for the homeless? How does that
Yeah.
work for the barely making it people? How does that work? Because they can't,
Pensioners or
they can't buy $1,000 phone. Hell, there's
no,
still people that are taking their checks, walking, in their neighborhood to a check cashing place, and they take 10% because they don't know the idea of going to a bank and opening up an account. So you're going to expect them to jump on crypto and be able to navigate it? Absolutely not.
no way.
It can never be an overnight thing. There would be riots. There would be you would create a class system that would make any other class system look ridiculous in comparison, where
Yeah,
people are locked out of doing anything versus the people that are smart or have done their homework beforehand. It just wouldn't work.
no,
Yeah, I agree with you. It would have to be part of the existing financial system
Yes.
basically running the show in the background.
And how do we know it isn't?
And how do we know?
How do we know they don't have a private chain that they're using that, because they don't need XRP. They can have a private chain in the background. Yeah. They don't need the XRP necessarily to make those transitions between banks to banks to banks, right? That's, that's what Swift is, currently for, but they can run a private blockchain. They don't need XRPL is a public blockchain. They don't, I don't know how people would feel if anybody in the world can just know how much money you have in the bank. That's not really secure. So it has to be at least private in some regard.
So banks would custody, but banks would also have their own internal blockchain. And the internal blockchains would interface with the CBDCs, let's say, and they would interface through, let's say, Interledger worldwide, converting all the currencies in between, all the trade, all the transactions. So everything would go on blockchain, but it's not going to be one blockchain. It's going to be like a myriad of blockchains. And it can't be like publicly visible the way it's now, right?
It cannot be. It cannot be.
I mean, the security aspects are great, right? Because you can track, you can undo payments, which is coming to XRP as well, right? The clawback amendment is coming, but it's only for the tokens, not for XRP itself, which people seem to be confusing.
Are you talking about the clawback you said?
Yeah, clawback. Yeah, it's for tokens, not for XRP itself. So then the more you dig into this, the more you read, the more you find out how all of this works, the more you have to understand that this can't be it, right? It's not like you actually like imagine at first look. This is way more complicated. Getting crypto or blockchains to work on a global financial level is way more involved and complicated than people think. I mean, we know that Bitcoin was like basically a test, I would say. It was a proof of concept. And we also know that Bitcoin can't be used for payments. It's out of the question. Everyone who's ever tried to make a payment with Bitcoin.
Oh, man. just trying to buy a movie is.
Oh, yeah. Go to a cafe at your town and go and stand in line and make a payment and wait for 2 hours to get the payment confirmed.
My coffee's gone cold. For fuck's sakes.
So that's why it confuses me when countries like El Salvador do this. It makes no sense on the small payment level. Maybe it makes more sense, like if you want to buy a house, a car, okay, where it takes longer anyway. So what is an hour, right? Doesn't make a difference, but not for day-to-day payments, right? Like you go into a mall or to a store. Bitcoin makes no sense on that level.
Yeah, you would say that you would buy a coffee. They'll say, okay, stand over there, and in 15 minutes your transaction will be processed.
With the rest of them.
It'll be like lines out the door, and like this doesn't make any sense. It would never work.
So what you're reading, War and Peace. I still ain't had my coffee yet.
So, and that's why also it confuses me how Ethereum got such a green pass from the SEC, basically saying, oh, you guys are good. And Ethereum is even less capable of doing payments than Bitcoin is. The fees are higher, ridiculous, right? Hundreds of dollars, depending on what time you're doing your payment, right? If the chain is at 99.9% capacity. I've waited 48 hours for a payment on Ethereum to come through. I mean, you get into a panic, right? Depending on the amounts you're sending. So this is out of the question as well. I would think Ethereum is like a big test as well. It's a big test of what you can do with the Ethereum virtual machine, right? The software you can tie into it to do NFTs and DeFi and all of that. But it can't be all on the main chain, because Ethereum having it on the main chain, we see what that led to, right? It led to the side chains being created like Polygon that take the whole work away from Ethereum so it can breathe a little bit, right? So all those applications have to be on side chains. But Ethereum, Bitcoin are never going to be used for payments. That's for sure. And then the number 3 would be XRP, right? Where we're getting a lot of things. Let me open up the amendments page here. I don't know if people are up to date. I think last time we talked about amendments, we talked about NFTs, which was what, a year and a half ago by now? Time flies. And yet NFTs are such a small market on the XRP ledger. We're talking about 2,000 people trading NFTs back and forth among themselves. Am I wrong? Something like
Yeah,
this.
no, around that, isn't it?
Yeah.
True.
So now the hype is all around the AMM.
Yeah. Oh, let's get into AMM. Don't
AMM,
understand it, but I'm going to use it.
Crown, you want to talk about AMM a little bit to your understanding? Automated
Uh,
market maker. I think
yeah,
David Schwartz gave it a good explanation on X a while back, but tell us a little bit about it if you can.
yeah. Actually, I don't know too much about it. I know that Modbus was more of the spoken for this. It's just supposed to interject liquidity and have liquidity basically anytime that's needed.
So the way I understood also is there's two parts to it, right? One is instant settlement of trades. So basically, we all know that the XRP has a DEX, decentralized exchange, where people can put up a sell order or a buy order, and then they have to wait, correct? You might wait days, weeks, or forever to get your trade through, right? Your buy
Right.
or sell order.
Mhm.
AMM is supposed to do an instant trade, and it uses liquidity that people provide. That's
Yeah.
how I understand it, right? So you'll be
Yeah.
able
Yeah.
to buy both sides. Let's say you can buy the dollar and you can buy XRP, and you can provide liquidity in both sides, and then
Yeah.
people can trade instantly, right? Because there's sufficient liquidity now that the prices, the buy and sell offers will be close enough thanks to the liquidity available, that you can do an instant transaction. And that opens up the doors for DeFi, basically, where you can stake and all of that. I think that's what I've been understanding, doing a little bit of reading. And David Schwartz said that this is like the biggest thing that he's been waiting for in the last few years to come to XRPL. Another thing that we're getting is DID, right? Digital identity.
Did.
And I think, yeah, go ahead.
I just think it's interesting that like all these things here are what other blockchains have had for sometimes even years. It just proves how antiquated the XRPL actually is. Because it's hard for me to get excited about DID or AMM when I've been using it on other blockchains for a while now. So I know it's kind of cool that's coming up to XRPL, but at one point it's like, who cares anymore? It's if you're just now getting this stuff, then you've already proven that this chain is already antiquated.
So you're seeing this in a negative way, or am
I
I
am
wrong?
seeing I'm seeing a negative way because
It's
I don't
been
think it's what the initial thought of the blockchain was going to be used for. It's a governance protocol, and now we're adding all these layers on top of it. We're kind of getting out of the idea of what XRPL was originally, set up for, and now we're trying to play ball with the other big dogs, and it just, to me, it's just we're just kind of trying to catch up, which is not a good look. It's just one of those things where it's, digital ID is it's cool because we've been using it on other blockchains, but it's like I can't get really excited about it because I don't really care.
Isn't that something more that has to do with legal aspects of using XRP, let's say for banks, something that is required, such as the clawback feature, that would be something also a legal aspect, of being able to take away payments that were done and they were not compliant. So let's say, just like when you have a credit card transaction, right, where the bank can undo the transaction and
Yep.
take the money away from that transaction and give it back or take it back. So maybe those things are just necessary little steps to get XRP compliant to the banking system, to the financial system.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's definitely, you could just tell that it's set up for something along the lines of that. Yeah, I would agree with that.
So what's your perspective, Crown, on XRP's future here? You don't seem very positive about it.
I don't. I think there's currently better chains out there. Now, the only reason why XRPL why I should even care is if it's the chosen one, if it's the one that everybody's going to flock to or forced to flock to. I think that's the better word for it. Then I think it has a place. But I can't really get excited when you see this blockchain choke with the inscriptions at like 50 TPS. It's just not realistic.
Nick, what do you think?
I'm listening to you. I'm enjoying this conversation, to be honest, MD.
Yeah, I like I said, I used to love XRVO because it's the first one I got into, and I just think that I was blinded by a lot of the influencers and moon boys and more about the mysteriousness about it, like Mr. Pool and things. But the more I use it, the more I use other chains. I think that's my big opening is the more I use other chains and then I come back, I get kind of disappointed. I get kind of, like, do I even care?
I mean, like Crown said, AMMs and it's already been done, so it's nothing new. I mean, my take on AMM is that people are going to jump in there without actually understanding how it all works, and that's a big problem. Like we said earlier, it's a way of getting people out of their XRP at this moment in time. I truly believe, because people don't read, as we know, people don't read. They just jump in. It's all new on the XRP house, so they're going to jump in, and it's another way to get their XRP off them. That's my view on it.
Crown, how are you on time?
I am getting kind of low here. I probably need to go pretty soon here. So
Yeah, it's okay. We're gonna do a part 2 here.
yeah,
And in part 2, we're gonna have Modbus join us, and we'll go a little bit
Hopefully.
about Zahao sidechain, which that's what they call it, a sidechain. But we'll get into that. It's not really a sidechain, just to leave it at
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So thanks very much for joining us, Crown. Have a good day, and we'll pick up on part 2 with you and Modbus. And with
Awesome.
that, Nick.
To the moon.